One.
Hey, everybody. We are talking about the cybersecurity defense ecosystem. One of our partners is Michael Becce. He's from a company called Mike Worldwide. It's literally Mike Worldwide. What a cool name. And we're going to talk about PR. Everybody obviously has heard about PR before. And then, is it an expense? Is it an investment? Does this help me move my needle up in my business? Does it drive sales? Like what does PR do? First of all, Michael, welcome. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good stuff. All right, let's give me a definition. If you, some of chatting, what is the definition of PR today in 2024?
Yeah, one of the ways we would define ourselves in a very simplistic way is PR is a way to generate exposure in front of the places you want to sell into, right? So, how do you get people to know who you are and what makes you different? And PR is a way to do that without having to buy advertising or paying for it.
It's like music to my ears, right, Mike? So before we jump into this, I just want people to understand who is Michael Becce, because, you've got a massive track record in this industry, but also in so many things. Give me the recap of who is Michael.
And so, I've been at this for a long time. So this is year 30 for me, right? So MRB Public Relations, I'm the founder of MRB Public Relations back in 1992. And we've done tech PR since then. Initially, we started as a technology research company, and we worked for the leading tech publishers, as well as we worked for a lot of the major business publications and helping them develop technology-related stories. And this, again, was early 90s, so the dot-com boom was happening, and they were making lots of ad revenue, the publications were. So we basically had to change what we were doing or we were going to get phased out. But we had a lot of vendors that would come to us and they'd say, can you get us into Business Week or Fortune or whatever? And he said, I suppose we can. We know the media people because we work directly for them, and we know how they develop stories because we're the ones that do it. So we kind of evolved into a PR firm. But we're a little different in that we're still very research focused. And I think if you look at PR, it tends to be a lot focused around, press releases and throwing stuff out there. And it's something that doesn't really work if it did at all. There's you can throw as much stuff to the wall and hope stuff sticks, or you can do things in a way that's going to generate real coverage that's more meaningful. And by getting stories written that are not only more interesting, but that people can learn from, and aren't just promoting companies or products, more people going to read and share and get the point across about what makes you interesting as a company.
So being more strategic as opposed to just, shotgun blasting everywhere. And so, Michael, for everybody out there, Michael knows this thing, right? He knows the stuff, right, at a DNA level. So when it comes to technology and how to tell that story and where to tell that story and to whom to target that story, he is the teacher. And the reality is that the question then becomes, how can channel partners and vendors as well, right, take advantage of, Mike's expertise? And we've done a couple of things. So first of all, Michael is our partner in public relations in the cybersecurity defense ecosystem, and his mandate is to literally help all the members to do better with PR and the vendors as well, and tell their story, right? And so the first cool thing that we did, or that I should say he did, was that he went back and he created a program, right? So it's not a guessing game anymore. It's like we've got a 3-month program, all right? So just let's talk about this 3-month program out of the gate so they understand, where the meat and potatoes are.
Yeah, so the whole concept behind developing this program is the bulk of MSPs are smaller in nature, right? There's a couple of there's some very large ones that most more often than not have their own agencies. But then there's, 80 to 90% of them that that don't have the marketing budgets that these big companies do. And as a result, they don't do much to get out there. But there's a huge opportunity for them because again, it's the bulk of the industry. It's the people that the media want to hear the most from because it affects most of their readership or their viewership, right? So we were figuring if there's a way, when we get a client, we take them through like this kind of 3-month series of what we do. We create positioning for them. We, interview the executives, and we kind of find out about them and what makes them click and what makes them um, interesting, why people buy their services or solutions, right? So, and we build kind of concepts and stories around that. So then we started to think about if these guys can't afford it, maybe what we could do is just train them to do it on their own. So we could pretty much do that in 3 months' time. So we have this kind of package to do that, to say, here are the things that you need to do. We'll kind of work with that company for that time frame, do it the same way as if you were an account, but you'll do it right alongside us, and you'll see exactly what we do, how we do it, and basically kind of teach you to launch your own program and maintain it while you go along.
So just to double click on this, folks, we're not looking to like collect money from you every single month for the rest of your life. All right. We're looking to teach you how to fish. All right. Because most of the stuff, while it's not rocket science, with the right help, you can grow faster, do more, do better. All right. And what we want to do in the world of PR is simply help channel partners get up to speed, right? And once they're up to speed, right, and they understand how the moving parts work, right, they can continue along that journey. And hey, whenever you need help, Mike's a call away, because sometimes, we get busy, can't do it, need help, something is different, whatever that is, then you got always available to reach out to Mike to do it. And I'll give you just one simple example. You're chugging along in the world of cybersecurity, 3 of your clients get hit, you got a problem on your hands. There's a few people you got to call. One, you got to call your incident response person to stop that breach from happening. You got to call your lawyer because who knows what's going to happen. And you got to do some compliance issues with your legal firm, and you got to mediate the damage. And you need a PR company to help you to drop that noise level down, because these days in social, it flies very, very fast. So, here's an example. You might have a customer who got hit, and you might contact Mike and say, hey, I got a customer that's been hit right now. Can you jump in there and see if you can calm the noise down a little bit? And it's another service you can offer, right? Mediating the social impact of cyber risk. I just want to throw that out on the side there, because we're going to teach you how to do it, but you also got the resource available to you 365 days when you need it, right?
And we're happy to jump in and do that. And even to go beyond that, I mean, if there are, we kind of help you launch your own program and you're moving along, and then you might say, oh, well, how do we do this? Or we're launching this new service. What's the best way? You could still call us at that point, and we're always available to you to give advice and to talk about how you can do things on your own. I mean, we won't do the work unless you pay us, but we'll always be there to guide and instruct you if you need it. And that's something that is available to all of my clients forever, right? So they're always welcome to call me and get tips and advice.
And this is the key. This is why by the way, we picked there's many PR firms that we're connected with in the world as news media, and we picked Michael and his team because of the personal relationships that he can offer his clients, experience, integrity, loyalty, the ability to just get the right outcomes, and I think just simply being honest. At the end of the day, you don't want to BS people in this game of PR. You want to be clear. If you want to go climb Mount Everest, but you have no oxygen tanks, you probably do not want to go. It's as simple as that. I mean, maybe you're strong, but you're just not going to make it. All right. So it's about being real, right? And what I love about the program that I've ingested and looked at is that it is really a simple, effective roadmap that you can then build on to get you up to speed. And I think once you see what's in it, all right, it's going to also become obvious to you. You may even have a PR company already. You may have a PR human that you're working with, and you may want to use this to compare what you got, because do you have the best solution for yourself? So think about that, because that is what we want all the members of the CDE to be doing. We want them all to be doing PR right, because PR is not just about getting the company's solution in the front of the buyers, your target audience, but it's also about telling the story about all the vendors you're working with. So I'm not going to dig into the details of the program because it's available for them. They'll get a free copy of it. All they got to do is just come in and give us your name and information. We'll send it to you to review. You want to have a conversation with Mike? He is available to help you through that as well. And then if you like it, then sign up. Right.
And one of the things you said there that was really important is to do PR is one thing, but to do it right and to do it in a positive way is something else entirely. I mean, PR's got a terrible reputation, right? People don't like PR people because there's a lot of bad PR people out there. Media certainly don't like working with people that are trying to kind of force messages on you, or don't know the right contacts to go to, or aren't positioning stories in a way that helps their readership, right? So if we show you how to do it right, it helps the industry as a whole too. And it's going to make you as a company look better when you have people that know and understand how it's going to work, not just for you, but for the people that you're dealing with, media, vendors, partners, etc.
Glad you brought that up, because I know this firsthand, being in the news media business, right?
Yeah, I
We've
would think.
seen bad PR people and good PR people. And it's not because, you've got a client, you've got a story, it works. The one cool thing that I want to, dwell on a little bit before we jump to some wrapping this up is that PR for MSPs is different a little bit from PR for vendors, because vendors want to talk to MSPs and that type of thing. Some similarities, of course, but you're talking more about looking at the actual MSP, where they do business, local media, local podcasters, local influencers, local, the ways they can get their word out to these local communities where their audiences live. All right. And you actually help them to identify those sources, don't you?
We do. I mean, it's kind of really step one with any PR campaign, and the thing that's going to lead to your success, right? You need to make sure you have the right contacts to target, right? So if you have the right, both, if you're selling into a certain region, you want to make sure you have, your local news media, even broadcast media. Some service providers might think we're too small to talk on a local broadcast station. You're not. You're able to deliver the message that they need, and it's easy to convince them to do that. Based on, you're the majority, right? You're the one that's focused on the widest portion of the market. Not everybody's a large enterprise, so small businesses need to know how to react to stuff, and they don't have anybody to tell them those things. So you provide a very strong contact, and you have all the tools that you need as a company to do that. You have experts, you have, documentation, you have a blog, right? You have existing content. I mean, so it's really, the things that are more important than anything else are the contacts and the content, right? And if you have those two things and know how to distribute them in a smart way, then you're well on your way to good, strong visibility.
And they're local, right? So your local news outlets want to talk to the local companies, right? You know, something big happens. ABC company gets hacked, blah, 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 right? Who can I call here locally to talk to my other local businesses, right? Let me call Mike because he knows his stuff and I can ask him about this. And sometimes it's just like a 1 minute
Yeah,
clip
if
or
you're
a
lucky, it's a
quote,
minute.
right?
Yeah. Just so usually it's a couple of quick comments. And if you're local to them, it's really simple for either you to go into their studio and do a quick segment or them to come out and do it on your premise where they have your signage in the background. And that kind of stuff is really valuable beyond who just sees it. I mean, and it's obviously it's good for your own brand, but once you start now sharing that through your social media and letting people know that you're there, like, who do you want to work with as a company? You want to work with people that are the experts. That's just another really good
And
way.
that's known, right?
Sure.
And by the way, I want to add one thing here, Mike. Once you do it one organizations and the other publication sees, hey, who's Mike? How come he got Mike and we don't have Mike?
Mm,
Right. So all of a sudden now you become another people look at you, and then that gets into 2 news media, then it goes into 4 news media. And
mm.
all of a sudden, you're the cybersecurity expert in the neighborhood, not to mention the AI expert, digital transformation expert, because the last time I checked, man, news media is not experts in these areas.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I mean, anytime somebody does an interview, whether it's a broadcast interview or with a trade magazine, a newspaper, um, when they have the good conversation, they're going to come back to you, right? Because they're going to trust what you say, and they're going to. So when they have a story that's related or maybe not even related, they'll call and say, "Can you talk about this?" Right? So once you establish those relationships, those are things that can last you a lifetime, right? And they may move on to upper, bigger media, and so you'll be a resource for that person forever.
So the moral of this story, my friend, is public relations is quite extraordinary. It's why every single large company on planet Earth have a public relations department. Politicians got public relations departments. Anybody who has a large front customer facing, lifestyle has some sort of PR behind them. Um, the reality is that it starts here. And it starts where you taking the first step towards some 3-month program like this that's going to get you on the right path. So at least you can discover this and explore really what it means. You may not know what it is today, but after some time, we're using the number 3 months, you will come to a point when you go, I cannot believe I have not done this for the last 10 years. And we've seen those things happen, right? People don't know what they don't know. And a lot of people think, oh my goodness, this must be something not for me. This is like the same way, hacks happen, right? Cyber attacks. Oh, they'll never hack me, right? I don't have what they need, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody is in the boat, man, and there's a way for you to leverage this. Last words, Mike. What else did I forget to mention?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'd say too is like if look at companies that you know of and respect, right? So
Mhm.
now go to their websites, look on their news sections, and I would venture to guess that if it's a company that you see a lot or that you have a positive image about, they're going to have a lot of stuff in their news section. Now look at your own news section. If it's, here's a story from 2022 and here's one from 2017. Those, I look at those sites and I go, all right, this is a company that's maybe lagging, and maybe they don't have the expertise that I would want, right? So those things have an impact on people, and just that 3 month time, you'll get coverage and you'll be able to build up that news section almost immediately. So it'll be valuable within that time frame almost right away. So
Look, trust us now, believe us later. You'll only believe something when it's done, and this just makes absolute sense. We just got off of our awards, program, and a lot of MSPs, for example, won their 50 best managed IT companies awards, right? And of course, we always talk about what do you do with it? You've got this award that demonstrates that you've actually done or operate your business using best practices. And it's a complex award to win. You don't get it with money, right? You got to earn it with answering 200 questions. You get something like this that's got that tagline on it, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing you want the entire world to know about. Certainly your customers, your suppliers, your banks, your friends, your family, just goes beyond, because just simply saying a 50 best managed IT companies says a lot, because who doesn't want to work with a company that's best managed as opposed to one that's not best managed, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
So
and make sure you leverage that stuff. And when you do make announcements, whether there are new hires, whether you're opening a new office, whether you're, adding a new service capability, you're working with new partners, and these are all good opportunities to talk about, winning, these kinds of awards and the things that you're doing. So
new customers, new awards. The reality is that everybody has news. And it's only you to determine if only you know about your news and people who visit your website. But if you want to crank up the amplification of those great news stories that you generate, that tells your story about your company and why you do what you do, then you need to have some level of PR, right, to kind of amplify that message. So writing is on the wall, my friend. We're in the social world now, and it's not just posting stuff. Selfies are cool, but you got to put some substance in there, right? So I would encourage everybody, as part of our roadmap for the cybersecurity defense ecosystem members, to simply have a conversation. Ask Mike to get that proposal so you could see those 3-month what it's all about. Have a conversation with him, and then see if this works for you. And I'll bet you won't regret it. In 3 months, you'll be coming back and going, "Damn, should have done this 10 years ago."
you will. And
Mike,
everybody has that reaction too. So it's like, why didn't I do this sooner?
exactly. I'll put all the links and everything else in the story. But reach out. Mike's there. Let's get this done. All right.